Okay, we're live, sister. Woohoo! Okay, hi everyone. I'm Nancy Regan and I'm here with my sister Teresa. We're gonna give it just a minute or two to let people get on here. I'm doing something different. I'm going live from my cell phone and I'm in Boston. So this is showing me. Okay, hold on. Don't leave. I'm just checking something. Okay, we're live here.
Hey everyone.
Okay. No. Okay, well, we're live. We're gonna roll. Here we go. Okay. Okay, rolling, right? Okay. All right, we're back live. I am in Boston, visiting my sister Teresa.
Yeah.
We're nurturing our relationship the same way we need to nurture our equipment as reliability professionals. But we are in front of, where are we, sister?
We are in the North End branch of the Boston Public Library here in Boston.
Yes, and we are here because what we want to show you isn't here anymore, so we have a picture. So my sister is gonna share a really cool story, but it has everything to do with our best source of reliability data. So if you can just stick with us. Okay, sister, show them the picture. So
this is a picture of a fence that my father and my grandfather made. It was right in front of here, probably up until about 10 years ago.
They were both blacksmiths.
Yes, my father and my grandfather were blacksmiths. And the quick story about my grandfather he told was when he went to Ellis Island, they took his tools from him. Those were tools of his trade. And they said they'd give him back when he left. Well, he never got them. And we called him Puppy. And when Puppy finally made it out, made some money, he made his own tools, and we have them with his initials on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm going to switch back where I'm on my phone. I want to switch back to LinkedIn real quickly. Can you guys just tell me if you can see and hear us? Because I've never gone live from my phone before. So let's hold on 1 second. Comments.
That's what happens.
You can still hear us. See any comments. Oh, but we have, okay, well, we have 8 live people from LinkedIn, I can see. So if you can see and hear us, will you just give me a thumbs up or leave a comment real quickly? Because I'm using new technology here, and I would hate it if we're standing here. Okay, there he is. John, thank you. All right, so now we're going to get back to the show. All right, sister. So let's keep going.
All right.
So now, all right, so our father and grandfather were blacksmiths.
They were blacksmiths, and their shop was in Everett, Massachusetts. And this library used to be on North Bennett Street, and then they moved it here on Parmenter Street. And I guess in those days, the architect used the Yellow Pages to find blacksmiths because they wanted this custom fence made.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Show it a little closer to the camera so they can see. Tell them about the fence.
Well, this fence was in multiple pieces. It was made in multiple pieces. First, at the shop, they called it, they made, I guess, an example of one piece of fence. It was a square.
Show them.
With a bunch of different squares in it.
Yeah.
And each square had to have this specific design by the architect. It was many different pieces of wrought iron or whatever the material was. And it was cut specifically. If you take a look at it, you can see how each piece isn't quite even. And these had to be welded together. And back in the day, my father went home for lunch, and he came home and he had one of the inserts of one of these squares, and he put it on the table, and he said, "Wife, you got to take a look at this. This is what the architect wants me to make for a fence."
Yeah.
So he said, "You're not going to believe it." He said, "I thought this was going to be the wrong side where he welded. You could see, you know, where he soldered, the solder was."
Yeah.
And when he turned it over, he showed the architect the smooth side. And the architect said, you know, Al, I like it better on the rough side.
Yeah.
So he made, I don't know how many hundreds of these stars. He called them stars. And then he welded the stars in the squares of these pieces of fence. And the pieces of fence were 6-7 feet high.
Wow.
It was quite an undertaking. They were very proud of it. There was a big dedication, of course, of the library. And, you know, every time, well, until they took it down, the fence for whatever purpose, anytime we had guests, we would always bring them by this fence. And I always touched it when my father wasn't here anymore. And I felt like I touched him and my grandfather. They were so, so proud of it. And you think 2 immigrants, you know, they were the ones that they asked to do this.
And so you saw it when it was up. It was gorgeous.
Yes, it was gorgeous. Yes.
And we still have a piece of that. And a friend of ours is going to put it in her garden.
We have lots of pieces. A lot of people have it. One person made a headboard out of it.
Oh, that's nice. So it's not gone.
No.
Okay, so now you may be wondering, what does this have to do with reliability? Well, one of the 2 points. Number one is our father and our grandfather had an incredible skill, right?
Yeah.
It was absolutely gorgeous. They were excellent blacksmiths. But the same thing goes when it comes to our equipment experts, when it comes to reliability. And sister, I don't know, maybe I get it from you know, seeing daddy's work. I mean, I was still young when he was still a blacksmith, but I remember being in his shop when he was doing what he was doing. And I just remember thinking to myself, how does he know how to do that? How does he create this kind of stuff? It's like, it's an awesome skill. So when I facilitate reliability centered maintenance analyses, what always I admire, and sometimes I can't even believe how much people know about their equipment. So this whole live is dedicated to our best source of reliability data. And in my experience, you know, I hear over and over from people where they say, well, how are we going to do reliability centered maintenance? How are we going to do really any improvement effort? Because we don't have the data. But one of the biggest sources of untapped gold in any organization, in my experience, is their equipment experts. Just say, for example, the operators and the maintainers, they understand how the equipment works. They understand what we need from it. They understand how it fails. And even more importantly, they understand the vulnerabilities. In other words, what are the opportunities of failure, or in the language of reliability, the failure causes or the failure modes. So I want to just pause for a second. Dawn, oh, hey, Dawn, hi. Dawn, you know, this is Dawn Kayada from, well, I met her when she worked at Fluke, and I've told her about you, sister. So Dawn, this is my sister, Teresa.
How do you do?
You wouldn't believe it, but she's 17 years older than I am. It's really true.
Could I just mention something, Susie?
Yeah, what?
You know, we're calling my father and my grandfather blacksmiths.
Mm-hmm.
People think of blacksmiths as shoring horses. However, they were ironwork blacksmiths.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Back Bay of Boston, they have all of their work is still there. Ironworks in front of windows, because they didn't have alarm systems back in those days. That was very intricately done with a lot of beauty and a lot of creativity.
Incredible skill. Incredible skill. Sister, look at this. Jose is joining us from Portugal. Kleba from Texas. Patrick from Tennessee. Oh, hugs to you too, Dawn. Okay, so let's get back to reliability and our best source of data. I'm sorry for the noise. That's one of the issues of being live, but that's okay. Oh, look, twin girls.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, ladies.
You're very busy.
Hi. Okay, so if we just consider, I mean, if you know me, you know that my area of expertise is in reliability centered maintenance. So if we just use the RCM framework for a second, let's consider RCM consists of 7 steps. So we start with functions. And what does that mean? Writing a function or identifying a machine's function essentially means what do we need it to do? And that's when we identify reliability. Now, so many times, put it in the comments if you have experienced this yourself. Too many times we buy a new piece of equipment, we put it online, and right from the outset, it doesn't work, or it works, but it doesn't give us something that we need. And a lot of times it's because we didn't consider from the outset what exactly do we need. It's like such a simple concept that it's often overlooked. And that goes for our normal lives too, right?
Sure.
Right? Okay. But you see, our equipment experts, the people who operate, the people who maintain, the people who manage our equipment on a daily basis, they have this information, they have this experience, but it's our job to ask them the questions. So the third step in the RCM process is failure modes. Now, my mentor, John Mowbray, he taught me that we manage physical assets at the failure mode level, and he also taught me that that failure modes is the currency of reliability. I shouldn't do this here on the streets of Boston. Sister, hold this up. Look. Okay.
What do you mean? This is my hood. This
okay. All right.
Here.
So we're safe. You'll keep me safe. Hold that up. So money. So John Mowbray used to say that. Oh, you dropped the thing. John Mowbray used to say that failure modes are the currency of physical assets, right? So just like we have currency as human beings, what do you have behind you, sister? You got 20s, 10s, 5s. No, I got 5s and hundreds. And I mean 5s and 1s. I'm not going to pull up the hundreds because we're in Boston.
Shame on you.
Okay, but the point is,
these are your roots here.
I know. It's our roots, all right. All right, so here's the point.
We worked damn hard to get out of here.
I know we did. And here we are doing a live in front of the library 60 years later, or not 60.
Well, for me it is.
It's not
more
than
than 60 for me.
For you, yeah. Okay, but here's the point. So we got a $20 bill, right? We got a $10 bill. We have 5s and 1s. So a $20 bill is way more valuable than a $1 bill. But the same thing goes for our failure modes. Here, put that in your pocket. So no.
Okay, do I get to keep it?
No. Oh, I better put it in my pocket.
No, I'll hold it.
No. Okay. The same.
I pay for standing out in the cold.
I know. The same thing goes for our equipment. Not every failure mode is created equally. Some of them don't matter at all, and we run them to failure because we run lots of failure modes to failure. No scheduled maintenance when it comes to our machines. But there are some that if we were to allow to occur, I mean, people, disaster could happen. I mean, people could be killed. And we see that every day in our world. You can just go on any newslet out right now, go surf the internet, and you'll see some disaster that happened because someone did not anticipate something.
May I interject?
Yes.
A huge molasses explosion right here in the north end of Boston.
When was that?
Oh, God, that was back in the teens, in the 1920s, I think. And what happened from there was the fact was nobody measured the pressure inside of the vats with the molasses.
Yeah.
And building codes and things like that all came into play then.
Yeah.
And that's where they have these measuring process.
Yeah.
For the vats. Well, they're gone now, but thousands of people died. That's why I brought it up.
Yep. So you see, and so that is obviously a failure cause that I'm going to assume, because if someone had thought of that, surely they would have intervened. So I have to assume that failure cause was not anticipated. So when and look what happened. But you see, our equipment experts know where the vulnerabilities lay. So it's important to ask them. Now, step 4 in the RCM process is failure effects, which is a short story of what would happen if we did nothing to predict or prevent the failure mode. But here again is where our equipment experts know, right? If something fails, they know what happens to pressures, what happens to temperatures, what we see on gauges, what we see on control panels, how it matters to the organization, etc. It's like this wealth of knowledge. And then when we get to identifying maintenance task intervals, they can be key in helping us figure out, for example, how often do we do a condition-based maintenance task? Now, I know we've got a lot of technologically advanced equipment. And so to a certain degree, they may not be able to give us answers, but especially today, our factories, our organizations are chock full of hydraulics, pneumatics, engines. So there is still a lot of failure modes when it comes to figuring out P2F intervals. That information just doesn't exist in databases, but it exists in the minds of the equipment experts. Now, if you're watching and you're not sure what a P2F interval is, it is essentially this. So how often we do a condition-based maintenance task, like vibration analysis, or checking differential pressures for our filters, how often we do that is dependent upon the P2F interval, not MTBF, mean time between failures. That is an average, not how often filter clog, but rather how quickly failure occurs once a potential failure condition is detectable. See, that's why that information, I've never seen it anywhere in any organization I've worked with. That information generally doesn't exist in databases, but it exists in the minds of the equipment experts. All we have to do is ask, but we have to ask. And so that's why I keep saying our equipment experts, they are, oh my gosh, the biggest source of untapped gold, one of the best sources of reliability data. Are you on your phone?
I'm just checking the office.
You're not paying attention to our live. See, you know what happens when you don't pay attention.
We're gonna have holes in our reliability.
Disaster happens. Yes. Oh my gosh, look at this. Sister Patrick says 1917. He just read the other day. I'm not sure exactly what it was. Something.
Probably the molasses.
The molasses explosion.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Huge.
See how incredible it is?
No one checked the pressure of the vats.
Yeah.
No, they're.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And the last step in the LCM process is default strategies. So when it comes to our equipment, you know, we have to put energy into our equipment to get the reliability we need. And part of that is proactive maintenance, which we just talked about. But there's other stuff. The quality of our operating procedures, our training programs, emergency procedures. How many times do you see on the news that disaster happened because maybe a step was omitted from an operating procedure, or maybe because someone did something wrong? And too often in our world, we blame a technician or we blame an operator, when really they were following the rules that have already been established or that are published. So it's up to us to make sure that our procedures are technically sound. And who knows? It's the people who work with the equipment day after day. They know where these vulnerabilities lay. But if we don't ask them, I mean, I've seen it over and over again in RCM working groups where we'll identify a failure mode and it has to do with an operating procedure that they say is wrong or it's vague. And I say, well, why didn't you bring this up to, you know, management before, or bring it up to the right person? And you know what I hear over and over again? I hear, I didn't think they would listen to me. They won't listen to me. Now, that doesn't mean that all managers are bad, and it just goes back to, especially in today's world with technology the way it is. Sister, you were just on your phone. Why? Because you have your own business.
I want to be sure everybody showed up on time.
You gotta make sure that things are working. I understand. I was just teasing you.
No, I know, but I had to put the micro pen on the charger.
You what? Oh, right. I know.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Microneedling pen.
Okay. So a lot of us are distracted, and not distracted in a bad way, but we're distracted in that we just have to do our jobs. And so sometimes people think, well, they won't listen to me because they're too busy. But we have to create, you know, we hear the term reliability culture a lot. It's up to us it's up to managers, people who who are responsible at a higher level, that we create that reliability culture, that we create that environment where, number one, someone feels safe to come and say, safe or comfortable to come in and say, hey, I need this, and this is an issue. But number two, not just that, but that they feel confident that their recommendation will be taken seriously. Otherwise, they're just not going to do it, and then it's just like wasted. That information, that it's a big loss to organizations. Okay, Dawn, you're the best. Great parable evangelist. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you so much. Okay, so I guess we'll leave it there. Sister, do you have anything to add?
Nope, just keep watching my sister.
Oh,
You'll have it all put together.
Yeah, thank you,
She's
sister.
got it all together.
She's my biggest fan, my sister. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure, and thank you for bearing with me when I say I'm using new technology. I'm going live on my phone on location, so now I know I can do it, and I'm going to do it more because it is maybe a little more interesting. And I walk around all the time and think, oh my gosh, that is just like reliability or something. So now I know I can come live. So thank you, everyone. Remember, one of the biggest untapped valuable resources in our organizations are our equipment experts. When we ask them the right questions, their answers can help us to improve or realize the reliability that we need. So thank you, everyone. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.